Hi, everybody. We're getting everybody signed in here, I believe. Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Fields. I'm the Director of Academic Advising here at Ottawa. And I first of all want to welcome you guys to Ottawa and the EMBA program. We're very excited to have you. And thank you for choosing us as your program of choice. So today I hope will be very beneficial for you. We're going to go through a lot of different components so that you have a good understanding of Ottawa and kind of what we're about here at Ottawa University. A lot of the different international status regulations that I know most of you will need to make sure that you have a good understanding of and be aware of. We're going to talk about the program structure of the EMBA program, some tools for success, and then the important policies that you guys need to know to get you to that end goal of graduation. So it is probably going to take about the 2 hours that we've allotted. You'll see several different people on our team presenting to you today. And again, we just want to welcome you and hope that this is beneficial for you. So feel free to ask questions. Because of the number of participants, we likely have you so that you cannot unmute and ask the question, but we have the chat available. So please use the chat feature. Feel free to ask those along the way. We can stop wherever we're at and make sure we address those questions for you guys. So don't hesitate to do that. One last thing is if you could please make sure that the way you're signed in here to Zoom shows your first and last name. That's what we're using to track attendance. So if it's showing something else, please update that to reflect your first and last name so that we can make sure that we mark that you've attended the NSO and you're getting ready to start the program. So first of all, we will move into your student support or services team. So basically, these are the individuals that you're going to be really working with closely as you go through the program. We want you to know and understand that you are fully supported here. You've got 2 different kind of teams that all work very closely together. So that first row, that top row, is your international programs department. You've been working with them quite a bit already in prep for starting the program. And they're the ones that are going to help you with anything international visa status related, I-20, CPT employment, all of those questions, international travel, all of that will go through the international team. So first you can see there is Kim Hankins, our DSO and Associate Director of International Programs. Dr. Mary Lou DeWald is the Dean of Global Initiatives. And then Miranda Badeau is another DSO, and she's the Coordinator for Academic and International Programs. So I know all of you have gotten a lot of emails from them at that generic email at internationalprograms@ottawa.edu. And that's a really great one to use because both of them track that and they can respond very quickly to help you answer any questions that you might need. That bottom row is your student services or kind of academic advising team. So these individuals are really going to be the ones that help you with anything academic related as well as financial related. So this will be very beneficial for you. Again, you've gotten a lot of emails from probably the generic email of emba@ottawa.edu about your program start, about your payment due dates, about what you need to do to set up your student like portfolio or record with your student ID number, all of that. So you'll continue to get emails from them, but anything that you have questions on or concerns throughout the program, but especially as you navigate getting started in these first few weeks, please don't hesitate to reach out to them because that's what we're here to help you. So again, my name is Jamie Fields, the Director of Academic Advising. I've previously been the advisor for the EMBA students as well, so I'm very familiar with the EMBA program and a lot of the components and experiences that you guys will have. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Courtney Lane is your Student Services Academic Advisor, and then Jenny Coombs is the Student Services Specialist for the EMBA program. So again, both of them will monitor that EMBA email, and you'll get very quick responses along the way as well. So make sure you bookmark both of those, have those saved because you'll probably be using them a lot. So now I'm going to turn it over and introduce one more person that I know you're very familiar with at this point, Justin Howell, who's been working with you through the enrollment process with HMS. So I'll let Justin speak for a second as well.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you here in virtual orientation. Just real quick, I wanted to jump on and share a scholarship opportunity with all of you. HMS is a partner of Ottawa University. And as you know, we handle the application process for the EMBA program, which is why you've been working directly with me throughout this process. Many of you have learned about Ottawa University through a referral scholarship program that is offered by HMS, which means that your friends who are already in the program or who are former students of the EMBA program have referred you to the university, and that's why you've found out about it and joined. So I just want to tell you about that opportunity. It's a $500 referral scholarship when you refer your friends to the EMBA program. You should have been informed about this referral scholarship program in previous communication from me. There's a link to it in the initial email that I sent you, as well as the email with your admission letter. And I'll send out additional information about that as well. But to refer your friends, you just need to click on that link, fill out the referral form, and HMS or myself will take it from there, and we'll help your friends through the application process. Again, that's a $500 referral scholarship when you refer your friends. So your friends don't get the scholarship, you do. So I encourage all of you to participate in that scholarship opportunity. And it looks like Boost Barrage had a question about the $500 scholarship credit. It will be applied to your student account when the referred student enrolls in their second full semester. Okay, so again, the scholarship goes to the student who's making the referral, not the referred student. So anyway, I encourage you to participate in the referral scholarship program. It's a great opportunity, and yeah, that's all from HMS. So I'll turn it back over to Jamie.
Thank you, Justin. Just out of curiosity, could you guys use the little raise your hand button or high five or thumbs up? How many of you were referred from somebody that's already in our program? Anybody? Seeing a couple, so great, that's fantastic. Well, thank you to your friends for referring you, and for you for taking advantage of that as well. So as Justin noted, yes, that referral scholarship would apply to your tuition for that semester. So it is a great benefit. We've got a lot of returning or current students now that take advantage of that. And some of them have gotten very significant discounts on their semester tuition rates because they've referred multiple friends. So this can add up. So please be sure to take advantage of that. As I wrap up, I'm going to hand it over to the International Programs Office here in just a second. But again, I just want to take a minute to welcome you guys. We really are excited to be here, or for you to be here. This is a unique program. It's fantastic. It's got a great group of people that will work with you. I know, as Justin mentioned, we're in this virtual world, and we are really sad that you're not sitting here in person with us doing the orientation. And we really are excited about welcoming you to campus and all our other students back to campus in August. So we'll be doing this first semester online. So this course and your next course that you'll start in June. And then after that, we will be coming back to campus in August. And we cannot wait to welcome you guys, introduce you to the areas and the campus locations, and hopefully, you'll get a lot of communications about that, but we just want you to know that we're really excited to do that, and we thank you for joining the program. So I am going to switch to the next slide here, and I will introduce Miranda with the International Programs Office. That's going to talk to you a little bit about some of your international student status.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Miranda Bedeau. As Jamie said, I'm one of the DSOs for the EMBA program. So we have quite a bit of information, so we are just going to jump right into it. All right, so SEVIS basics. Just as a quick announcement, If you have not received your I-20 yet for Ottawa, please reach out. I think most of you should have received it already, but if you have not, please email the international programs and we will either get that over to you, or you may be still missing 1 or 2 documents, and we can tell you which one you're missing so we can get that I-20 over to you. For those of those just completing OPT or the STEM OPT, you will lose access within about 6 months of that. So just to let you know, to get on your SEVP portal, log in and make sure to take a screenshot or save any documents that you need on there before that 6 months is up. It is the students' your responsibility to understand the F1 rules and regulations. I'm going to show you a redacted I-20 here in just a couple minutes, and page 3 is a great reference for understanding those rules and regulations. If you ever have a change of address, please make sure you update us within 10 days of moving. It can be before, it can be after, as long as it is no more than 10 days after your move. And make sure you keep all I-20s that you received from Ottawa University. All right, here's that redacted I-20 that I was talking about. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit so you guys can see this. All right, I think most of you have probably seen the I-20, but we're just going to walk through it. So this first section up here, this is all your personal information. The second section down here is school information. Now, depending on which campus you have chosen, this right here, school name, could say the Phoenix campus, Kansas City, or Wisconsin campus. The address, the school address is never what your campus address is, and that is because our PDSO resides at this address. So this address right here is what it's supposed to say. All right, program of study, we're gonna move it up just a little bit. Program of study right here, education level, everybody's in the master program. This first major right here, this is gonna change depending on what concentration you have chosen. So for example, this one is the OE concentration. So your I-20 might not look like one of your friends' I-20 just based on the concentration. Right, going down farther, this is your financial section, so you'll double check that, make sure everything is right. Down here at the bottom, always make sure a DSO has signed your I-20. There are 3 different DSOs. There's me, there's Kim, and then we have another DSO from Phoenix who also helps us out. So this could be one of 3 different DSO signatures. And then always when you receive your original I-20 in the mail, make sure you always sign your I-20. All right, page 2 of the I-20. This is where your CPT information is going to be. You can see the type right here, which will be CPT. This will state if it's full-time or part-time. Your status should always say approved if we have sent it to you. Your start date and your end date. All of that information is going to be right here. And then your employer information, like the name and the city and state, is going to be on the next line. And then farther down, right here where it says travel endorsement, this should always be signed. This signature right here is for travel, and it is valid for 1 year from this date issued, from the date that it is signed. And lastly, the third page, this is what I was talking about. I highly recommend all of you reading this page This is all the rules and regulations for F1 visa status. So when you receive your I-20s, either email or in the mail, I highly recommend reading this. Do we have any questions so far? Good, Jenny?
We had a few questions regarding how does an I-20 expire? And then the other question was, are they going to get an updated I-20 with the concentration mentioned under section major 1?
Okay, to address the second question, do we have somebody switching from a concentration to a different one?
Looks like no.
Okay, if this concentration right here on page 1, the concentration should not change within your whole 2-year program. This will remain the same throughout your whole program. And as for an updated I-20, the entire I-20 does not expire. Kim's going to get into a little bit of the CPT, but it would usually expire on this end date over here. So your current session dates, we do not hand out new I-20s every 8 weeks. So this is just the current session that we're in. What you'll want to really pay attention to is your end date, and Kim is going to come up and talk a little bit more about CPT here in just a minute and what that would look like. Okay, F2 dependents. If any F1 student is ever wanting to add an F2 dependent, which could either be a spouse or a child, you would need to send a copy of their passport, a copy of a marriage certificate if it's your spouse, or the birth certificate if it is your child. And each dependent requires an additional $6,000 in funding. So for example, your I-20 shows $28,390. An additional $6,000 would be $34,390 on that financial section of your I-20. You would send all of those documents to international programs. We would review them just to make sure you have the right documents. And then we will add them onto your CVIS record and send you a new I-20 F1 with your F2 dependents. All right, we're going to jump into some travel here, guys. Okay, students can travel outside of the United States as long as you have all the necessary documents with you. And you have to stay engaged with your courses in Blackboard. When preparing for travel, you will need to submit the travel request form. And that is located, I think we're going to show you that, but that's located in your orientation course. You're going to see where that is in Blackboard. And then over on the left-hand side, it'll say International Student Resources. And all your forms are located in there. You will to travel, so you'll have to submit that form. You will need the most recent I-20 with that travel endorsement on that page 2 that I showed you guys. Your current passport, which must be valid for at least 6 months before you travel. And your current visa, in order to come back, that your visa still needs to be valid. If it is already expired, we would like to let you know that consulates are still offering very limited services. So you will want to keep that in mind and plan accordingly if you are traveling abroad on an expired F1 visa. And you will need to take your proof of funding with you. The same thing that I showed to you guys on page 1. One more thing regarding traveling, and that is as of January 26th of 2021, you must submit to the airlines a negative COVID test within 3 days of returning to the United States. Now, that is regardless of status or citizenship or everything. That is everybody. And also keep note that there is enhanced risk when traveling if you've earned two master's degrees in the US, or if you're currently working on your second one, if you previously applied for a change of status, and if you travel outside the US and your visa stamp is expired. And we have just kind of talked about that a little bit. We are seeing an increase in denials if you leave the US. So there could be a probability that you could be denied, but like I said, keep that in mind. Reach out to your consulate if you do travel with an expired visa. Do we have any questions on that? That was a lot of information in a short amount of time. Sorry, guys. Any questions, Jenny? We good?
You may have already covered it, just had a quick question about if they can use the recent I-20 to renew the expired visa in their home country.
Yes, the I-20 that they received today should be fine if they are planning to go back to their home country soon. That is an acceptable I-20 to use, yes.
Okay. And then another question, do you have advice on how to renew the visa to the new validation according to the new I-20?
I am going to invite Kim on up. I'm going to let her answer that question. She's getting ready to come up anyway to talk about a CPT. So I am going to let her answer that one. Guys, it was very nice to see you and meet you. I'm excited to have you guys back on campus in the fall. Kim?
Thank you, Miranda. Here I am. Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Hankins. I know I've been in contact with many of you over the past few weeks, so it's nice to virtually meet you. Before I get into CPT, I'll answer that one question, but Jenny, could you repeat what that question was?
Sure. The question was, do you have advice on how to renew the visa to the new validation according to the new I-20?
I'm not sure that I fully understand that question, but if you are currently in the US and your F1 visa stamp and your passport is expired, you are okay to remain in the US on that visa stamp as long as you are maintaining your F1 status. So you're enrolled in school, doing your courses, so on and so forth. But as soon as you leave the US and you want to re-enter, you're going to have to go to the consulate for your F1 visa renewal. And so now that you're enrolled as a full-time F1 student here at Ottawa, you would use your I-20 from Ottawa University when you go for that F1 visa stamp renewal at the consulate. And then as Miranda mentioned, you would need to have all those other documents with you, which is provided on our International Student Resources link in Blackboard. But you can certainly reach out to international programs as well, and we can share that information with you through email. So I'm not sure that it answers that question because I don't fully understand what they're asking, but hopefully that provides a little bit more clarification. Right. Jenny, was there any other additional questions?
There are just a couple. One is, what does previously applied for change of status mean?
Okay.
And also, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, is the next one related to that?
No.
Okay. To answer that question, so if you have been in the US a while and you were on a previously different visa type, so let's say you were on L1B or you're on H1B or H4 visa, and then you applied for change of status to F1, or in some cases, I've had students where they come to the US on an F1, then they change status to H1B, and then they change status back to F1. That's what we mean by changing status. And the reason we bring that up is we do see a bit of a trend with students who go to the consulate to either renew their F1 visa stamp or to get their F1 visa. If the consular officer sees that you have constantly or even just a couple times have changed your status here in the US, they may be questioning what you're actually doing. Because if you are on an F1 visa or you're trying to get an F1 visa, your main purpose, your sole purpose for being here in the US is to earn your degree, maybe get some practical training, and then return to their home country. So if they don't see that, and sometimes if you've had multiple change of statuses, so if they don't see that, they may question it and potentially deny you. So that's why we bring that up. It doesn't mean that you would get denied. It just means that they may scrutinize you a little bit more during that visa interview.
And there was one last question about, are they able to renew their visa through other countries such as Mexico or Canada?
You certainly can, but it's always recommended you go through your home country rather than a third-party country. So while you can go to Mexico or Canada to renew your visa stamp, we always recommend that you go to your home country. Ultimately, that's up to you to decide whether or not you go to a third-party country or your home country to get that visa stamp. So we recommend, and I know the consular affairs, they'll recommend also that you go to your home country to get that visa stamp. That's a good question. Okay. All right, we'll keep those questions coming in the chat, and we will address them as we move along here. So I will talk a little bit about curricular practical training. So as all of you know, or hopefully know, and if you don't, you're about to find out, one of the requirements of the EMBA program is there's a practicum requirement, and that comes in the form of employment here in the US. So it's another piece of practical training. So if you're coming off of OPT, STEM OPT, that's a type of practical training. You're now doing curricular practical training, which is a type of training that you do during your academic program rather than after your academic program. So the purpose of CPT in the EMBA program is for you to take what you're learning in the classroom and to apply it in real time to your work environment. So you're learning in real time, you're taking theories and applications, and you're getting to apply it right now in real time to your current work environment. And in return, it kind of provides a fantastic networking opportunity, learning from your other classmates who are also currently working, learning from your instructors who are have specialty within their fields. So it's a fantastic way to really specialize within your academic field. So if you've been on CPT before, some of this may be kind of old news for you, but if you've never done CPT, it is a little different, and there are some nuances to it that are different from OPT and STEM OPT. I'd like to read through the definition of CPT as provided by the federal government's rules and regulations. It's a little dry, but it's information that's important. And if it's not followed, it can get some students into trouble on down the line. So part of the definition of curricular practical training, or CPT, as listed in the federal rules and regulations, states that an F1 student may be authorized by the DSO, so Miranda or myself, to participate in a curricular practical training program that is an integral part of an established curriculum. So that's the executive MBA program. Curricular practical training is defined to be alternative work study, internship, cooperative education, or any other type of required internship or practicum that is offered by sponsoring employers through cooperative agreements with the school. Now, when they say sponsoring employers, they're not saying employers who are sponsoring your visa. They're saying sponsoring employers in which the employer is partnering with Ottawa University to provide this practicum experience for the student. Moving on, it says a request for authorization for curricular practical training must be made to the DSO, and that comes in the form of the CPT employer form that all of you had to fill out and submit to us. And then lastly, and this one's really, really important, I can't stress this one enough, it says a student may begin curricular practical training only after receiving his or her Form I-20 with the DSO endorsement. So you can only begin working for an employer on CPT after you have received your I-20 from Ottawa University that has CPT listed and has that specific employer listed as well on the I-20. If you do not have that I-20, you are not authorized to work. And if you do, you are working without authorization. And if you do that, we won't terminate your record, but that will definitely come back and potentially cause issues for you with USCIS. So make sure that you get that I-20 from us before you start working for your CPT employer. Now, the process for being authorized for CPT is quite simple, and all of you have gone through this process as you were submitting documents to us. So there's 3 main documents that we need in order to enter your CPT request into CBIS. And that is first completing and submitting the CPT employer form. And that is located in Blackboard on the International Student Resources link, which I believe Courtney will take you through here later this afternoon. And just remember, on page 2 of that form, it does need to be completed and signed by either your supervisor or your HR manager. Or I know some companies have an immigration specialist that complete those forms. So that's not for the student to sign off on, that's for the employer to sign off on. So please make sure you do that. The other 2 documents that we need from you would be your official job offer letter from the employer, and then also your job description, an official job description. That can usually be obtained from your HR office, but sometimes the job description is also included in your job offer letter. So those are 3 pieces of documents or information that we need in order to enter your CPT into CBIS. Now, working in the CBIS system, there's a lot of nuances that students don't see, but us as DSOs do. And one of those nuances is the handling of CPT. So unlike OPT, a DSO can enter OPT after the fact. So if a student is a little late in getting if a student on OPT is late in getting their documents to the DSO can still enter the information with whatever dates are being requested. With CPT, once a date has passed, we cannot change it or we cannot enter it. So for example, if you are starting a new job and you're starting it this coming Monday, but we don't receive your CPT documents from you until next Friday, Friday is the earliest, or even the next week potentially is the earliest that we can enter your CPT. So if you've been working Monday through Friday, you're not going to get those days back. You're considered working without authorization. So what we ask of you is anytime you have a change in CPT employment, please reach out to the International Programs Office at least 3 business days prior to any changes going into effect. So 3 business days prior to starting a new job, or 3 business days prior to, if you know you're being laid off, prior to that happening, if they give you time to prepare for that. Rule of thumb, 3 business days is what we need in order to process your CPT. The CBIS system, another nuance is that CPT is only entered for 1 year at a time. And so we do authorize, students in the program are expected to maintain their CPT employment for the duration of the program, which is 2 years, 24 months. And so how we handle that is usually about 10, 11 months down the road or into the program, that comes time for us to extend your CPT authorization. So please reach out to us, as you're approaching that CPT end date on your I-20, reach out to international programs and say, hey, my CPT end date is coming up. I need to request an extension of my CPT, and we'll walk you through that process. But please make sure you reach out to us, because if you don't, and you do not receive an I-20 with that CPT extension, and you continue working, you're considered working without authorization. So I highly recommend looking at the calendar and putting a reminder on there, 10, 11 months from now, contact international programs to request that CPT extension. So please make sure that you keep that in mind. We don't see this very often, but sometimes we do have students who start the program without CPT employment, or maybe at some point in time in the program, they lose their employment, or they have a little bit of gap between two different employers. In that case, the student has 60 days to obtain new CPT employment. So if they're starting the program without employment, they have 60 days or their first term to obtain CPT employment. Now, if they lose CPT employment during the program, they have 60 days from their last day with their current or former employer to obtain CPT employment. And if you don't obtain CPT employment within that 60 days, you may be dismissed from the program because it is a required academic component of the program. So that is something that you must maintain. If you're looking to leave an employer just because you're not liking it or whatever the case may be, I highly recommend that you do not do that until you have another CPT employment lined up. So please make sure that you're planning ahead when making those decisions. The other thing I want to stress is, I know sometimes there can be some confusion. A lot of students in the program are on an F1 visa, and so CPT is applicable to them. Now, anyone who is not on an F1 visa, their work authorization is not called CPT. It's just called work, whatever you want, employment, whatever you'd like to call it. But one thing that is the same for everyone in the program is that you must have some type of employment or practicum that is directly related to your academic program. So whether you're on an F1 visa, whether you are a US citizen, whether you're on H1B, whatever the case may be, you must maintain that employment that is integral or directly related to your academic program. In addition to that, and Courtney is going to talk about the executive practicum memos, but the executive practicum memos are memos that you submit each week, and it's taking, what you're doing or what you're learning in the classroom, and you're applying it to your current work environment. Those memos are applicable to everyone. You get credit for it. It's an academic component. So it's not just for those on F1 visas or CPT. It's every single student in the program is required to complete and submit those memos. So please keep that in mind. I will talk about optional practical training and how it relates to the executive MBA program, but I'll do that towards the end of the session, kind of as a when you're getting ready to graduate type of thing. So I'll hold off on presenting on that. But before I hand it off to Courtney, Jenny, do we have any additional questions?
Yes, we do have two questions. One is related to how long after, I apologize, I got too far down in my chat. Okay. How long does it take to get updated I-20s after submitting all the required documents? And the second question is, with the current session end date being the 25th of June, do we need to renew any documents pertaining to CPT?
Good questions. So could you repeat that I'm taking one question at a time, Jenny. Could you repeat that?
That's quite all right. The first question was, after submitting all the required documents, how long does it take to get an updated I-20?
Yes. So we say up to 3 business days. So that's why we request you to submit your documents no later than 3 business days prior to any changes going into effect. So if you're starting a new job, submit those documents at least 3 business days prior to starting that new job. Typically, we have I-20s, updated I-20s with that new CPT information sooner than that. But sometimes we do have things come up where our processing is a little bit delayed. So give us at least 3 business days to get that processed. And then the other question was regarding the session dates on page 2 of the I-20. And those dates are the term dates. So it's kind of a confusing thing that CVIS does, but anytime you receive a new I-20 or anytime we generate a new I-20, it provides the current term dates or semester dates on page 2. And those are going to be constantly changing for you because we have 8-week terms and it's on a rolling basis. So every 8 weeks, those dates are technically changing. However, they do not outdate your I-20. It's okay to have an I-20 with dates, with session dates that have happened in the past. That's perfectly fine. The dates that you really want to pay attention to are your Cpt dates. Make sure those haven't expired. Your program end date on page 1. You definitely want to make sure that has not expired. If you do, it's a big issue for you. So if you're coming up on the end of your program end date on page 1, and you know you have a lot more time in the program, it's your responsibility to reach out to international programs. And then also, if you're going to be traveling internationally, you want to make sure that your I-20 is no more than 1 year old, because those travel signatures are only good for 1 year. So those are the dates that you really want to pay attention to. Those session dates really don't matter, but they're just the term dates. Good question.
It looks like that's it.
Okay, great. Well, if you have any other additional questions in terms of international status, CPT, I-20s, anything like that, please reach out to international programs at ottawa.edu and we will be happy to address them. And moving forward, I would like to introduce Courtney Lane, who is your Student Services Advisor. And she gets to go through a bunch of stuff. So Courtney.
Awesome, thank you, Kim. Happy to see all of you guys here today. Welcome to Ottawa. I'm excited to work with you for the next 2 or more years, which we'll discuss in a little bit. So we're just going to jump right in. Like Kim said, I do have a lot of information. I do want to just say that this session is being recorded and we will share it on our YouTube page, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. So if you do have any questions, don't worry. You can always email us or you will have access to watch this at a later date. So let's jump right into the program structure. So up here is a sample schedule. This is something that you'll receive one personalized for you that looks very similar, but it will be a little bit different based off of what campus you are at and where your concentration is. And so we will send this to you from EMBA at ottawa.edu, probably within the next week or so. And this is really a good guide map to use as you continue through the program. There is no self-enrollment, so we do all the enrolling for you. You can always ask us if you have any questions about what you're enrolled in or what you will be taking, but this also can help with that. It's really important that you prioritize your time here at Ottawa and you really put your best effort into the coursework. There are only 2 C's allowed in the program, and we'll kind of get into graduation requirements a little later on. But if you do receive any D's or F's, you will have to retake those courses. So that could result in having to pay more financially, potentially extending your time here, and kind of all of that headache that can just be avoided by ensuring that you do your best work in the program. Some of our courses are only offered once every 2 years at every campus. And so it is really important to stick to this schedule that we give you guys and work your way through that. So let's look a little bit more at the course rotation. So here at Ottawa, we have 3 semesters, but you will most likely hear us talk about our 6 8-week terms. And so in the spring semester, we have spring 1 and spring 2. Summer semester, we have early summer, which is what you guys are getting ready to start, and summer. And then for the fall semester, we have fall 1 and fall 2. Do pay attention to this SP1, SP2, all of those kind of abbreviations. We're kind of bad about abbreviating things and making up our own abbreviations for things, which you'll come to realize. So just kind of have it in the back of your mind. If you see that SP1, it is spring 1 that we are referring to. That first term of the semester, that will have your core course, so just your regular EMBA, Masters of Business Administration course. And then that second term is going to have your concentration. So you're either in IT, operational effectiveness, healthcare management, or business data analytics. And so those will be what you take that second term. Every term, like Kim was talking about earlier, you will also be enrolled in the executive practicum course. And that is worth 0.5 credit hours, and it is a pass-fail class. So you can always expect to be enrolled in those 2 courses. This first term is a little bit different, as you also have an orientation course, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit when we discuss Blackboard. All right, so the ever important attendance. We're going to go through what the alert system looks like for attendance, and then I'll kind of break it down what that policy looks like for when we are online versus when we do return to campus. So your first absence is going to result in a warning letter sent to you from the International Programs Office. Your second absence is going to be another warning letter sent to you, but also a warning letter sent to your employer, letting them know that you are not meeting the requirements. And then that third absence will result in dismissal from the program. So it's very important, like I said, that you prioritize the program, prioritize your coursework, reach out to myself or your professors if you're having any questions or struggles so that we can help you as early as possible. All right, excuse me. So let's talk about online. We are online for 2 more terms, so for this early summer term and for the summer term, and then we will be returning for the fall term, which I believe is August 20th. So what to expect for that online schedule? You will have access to the course actually this evening via Blackboard. So you're going to be able to review your syllabus, but not much else. So make sure that you do kind of take some time, sit down, look over that syllabus, jot down reminders for when things are due, get a good grasp of the expectations of the course, all of that good stuff, so you go into the course really prepared for what you're doing. And then you must log in to Blackboard and actually click into your into your early summer shell on Monday. So on Monday, the course will open up completely and you will be able to see absolutely everything in that course. And on Monday, by you clicking into it, that lets us know that you are intending to participate in the early summer term. If you do not log in by Wednesday, we will have to dismiss you for non-attendance. So please, please, please make sure you do get logged in to Blackboard and actually enter that early summer shell. All courses, all assignments, all discussions, those are all done through Blackboard. So that is where you will submit everything. That's where your professors will reach out to you, will grade your assignments, all done through there. There are no set meeting times or lectures. A lot of our professors do provide Zoom office hours or walk through any questions you may have, but there is no set time that you have to be available. You just want to make sure that you are abiding by the due dates and the deadlines. Typically, you have something due every Wednesday and Sunday. This can differ class to class, so make sure you do look at that syllabus, but this is what you should be able to expect. And then there are multiple discussion posts and assignments that are due, so just make sure you are making that a priority in doing those weekly. All right, so the online schedule. We are starting the early summer term. So you guys have already all made your payments. Thank you for that. Those were due yesterday. And then May 3rd, so this coming Monday, like I said, is when you will actually start the early summer course. So make sure you get logged into Blackboard, make sure you have a good understanding of what is expected. And like Jamie said, make sure you email us if you're having any questions. Your final day of class for the early summer term will be Saturday, June 26th. So this is when all of your assignments will be due for that term. We are staying online for the summer term. It will be our last term online, but we are online for it. And that will start on Monday, June 28th. And so again, same thing you're doing this term. You must make sure you log in on Monday, but definitely before Wednesday to let us know you do plan on participating in the summer term. And your last day for summer term classes will be Saturday, August 21st. Moving down to fall, that's where it gets very exciting, and we are actually returning to campus. So Friday, August 20th, kind of go ahead and put that whole weekend down. Begin to make your travel plans now. You will receive a very detailed email from emba@ottawa.edu, likely next week, kind of just getting us started to get acquainted with coming back to campus. But don't worry, we will send you a lot of details and information over the next couple of months. But I do just want to draw your attention to that Friday, August 20th, Saturday, August 21st, Sunday, August 22nd, to make sure you are prepared to travel to your campus on those dates. All right, so we talked about the attendance alert system. Here is how that attendance is tracked while we are online. So you must submit at least one assignment weekly in your core course. So not that executive practicum course, but your main course, in order to be marked present by your professor. You are marked present or absent at the end of each week. And if you are marked absent for 3 or more weeks during the whole term, that does result in that first attendance alert, which would be a letter to you. So obviously there are more than just one assignment in the courses. So to be successful, you need to be submitting all of them on time, but just for the purposes of attendance, make sure you are getting one in on time to avoid that alert later on. Any questions about online? No.
I don't see any.
Awesome. All right, let's move to on ground. So like I said, if you guys can't tell, we are excited about returning to on ground. I don't think any of us realized how long we would be online when that first started. So we are excited to come back safely and get to interact and see everybody actually on campus. So again, repeating myself here, but don't worry, we will send you a lot of information between now and August about on ground and what that will look like. But we do just want you to have a little bit of an understanding of what to expect. So the attendance policy for on ground, you must attend class. That's basically what it boils down to. With it being those accelerated weekends, you get a lot, almost all of your information in that weekend. And so you really, really have to be in class. If you are late, if you leave early, your professor can and most likely will count you as absent for that day. There are no excused absences. Travel is not an excused absence. Work is not an excused absence. So please, 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 we provide you all those dates ahead of time. Make sure you're putting those in your calendar, requesting off work if you need to, finding a way to make sure that you are able to be in person at your campus. Excuse me. Sorry. When we are on ground, one missed day will count as an attendance alert. So for example, if you were to miss Friday, but then you were here for Saturday, Sunday, that would be one attendance alert. If you miss Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that entire weekend, that would result in dismissal from the program. So it is very, very crucial. And we will talk a little bit about the emergency leave policy, which is really the only way to have an excused absence later on this afternoon. So we do provide some meals when you are here with us on ground. On Friday, we'll provide dinner. Saturday, we will provide lunch, and Sunday, we will provide brunch, as well as we have some hospitality suites that have a lot of snacks, coffee, drinks, other type of things to just really help you get through those days, because they are definitely jam-packed with your coursework. We also do partner with some hotels to provide some rates for our students. That information will be sent to you in those emails that we'll be sending out before we return on August 20th. So just be watching your email for that. And then here's kind of the schedule of what to expect for the weekend. So Friday in class from 1 to 5, and then again from 6 to 9. Saturday in class from 8 to noon, and again from 1 to 6. And then Sunday 8 to 10, and again 11 to 1, with check-in required beforehand. All right, so I know Kim touched on executive practicum and CPT a little bit, but we do get a lot of questions about this area, so I want to take some time to address those specifically. CPT and this executive practicum course is really what makes this program an executive master's program. So you're able to learn something in the classroom and then immediately put it into daily use at your work, which is a really good tool to be able to have. Each executive practicum course is worth half a credit, and you will have one of these every single term you are with us. You will have a memo that is due on weeks 1 through 7 every Sunday, and you will have a template for this memo in that Blackboard course for your executive practicum. So your same teacher that is working with you in your core class will be your professor for the executive practicum course. And so you'll really be taking what you're learning each week and writing a short memo about how you are applying that in your day-to-day job. This is a pass-fail class, so it's worth 10 points. You must earn 8 out of 10 points in order to earn a P or a pass on your transcript. If you earn 7 or less points, that is an F on your transcript, and you will have to retake the practicum course at a later date. All students will be enrolled in executive practicum the entire time they are here, regardless of if you do not need CPT for your student status. Week 8 is a little bit different, so we want to kind of draw attention to that. Your final memo is a little bit longer than those weeks 1 through 7 memo, as it compiles all the information you've learned during that course. This is going to be due on Saturday instead of Sunday because the course is in on Saturday. So just make sure you make note of that as you're going through all the deadlines and due dates. And your final memo must include an ink signature from either an HR representative at your company or your direct manager or supervisor. This is very, very important. If you do not have a signature on that memo, you will not receive any points for that memo. This is an Ottawa requirement as well as a federal requirement. So it is very crucial you kind of make that a priority to work with your company to make sure you're able to get that signature in time. And then some additional e-content. So our curriculum design team has worked with all of the professors, and these courses you can expect to have some additional content that you must purchase, and that is the responsibility of the student to purchase. Your professors will let you know that first day of your course if it is required or not for their class, but we do just want to make you aware that this will be coming up at some point. Excuse me, this is also going to be posted in our Blackboard OU communities page, which we'll talk about in just a second. So you can refer back to it, but like I said, we do just want to make sure everyone is aware at this point. All right, so that was a lot of information about the structure of the program. Any questions right now? Are we good to go into some tools and resources we have?
I think we're good to go.
Awesome. All right. right, so some tips for success. This is kind of the exciting part where I get to tell you how I can help you while you're here and all the other resources that Ottawa has put together to provide the student the best experience possible. So just a few tips we kind of came up with. Monitor your student email. This is very, very important. If you can't tell at this point, we use that student email to contact you, send you due dates, reminders, events coming up, all kinds of communication goes to that student email. As of right now, we will not be sending any more emails to your personal accounts. Everything from us has to go through that student email for legal reasons. So make sure that you are checking that. Honestly, once a day would be great. That way you're not missing any important information. Your professors will also reach out to you through that student email. So it is really important that you get in the habit of making that something you look at regularly. Reviewing all your course materials, it's great to do that at the beginning of the course, but even a couple of weeks into the course, just kind of taking 10, 15 minutes to sit down and read that syllabus again, making sure you understand your expectations. If you have any questions, immediately reaching out to your professor to get clarification. That is all just going to help you do the best you can while in the program. Avoiding plagiarism. This is a big one and one you'll hear about a lot. It's very, very important that you do produce high quality work that is your own words and your own thoughts and ideas. If you do use others' thoughts, you have to cite them correctly per APA. We do have a ton of resources for APA, so if that is something that you're not quite comfortable with yet or you would like a refresher, I'll show you where to find those resources. We know a lot of students plagiarize unintentionally and they don't mean to, so that's why we have compiled these to really help you put your best work forward. Communicate. Communication is key with myself, your international team, the student services team, and your professors. If you're having a hard time, if you're having family issues, medical issues, mental health issues, anything like that, reach out to us as soon as possible. We are here to help you. We are here to support you, but that is a lot easier and we have a lot more options to help you if it happens as early as possible. I can do a lot more in week 2 of the term than I can do week 8 when the term's ending in 2 days. So just make sure you have that open communication with all of those partners in your support team. Utilizing OU Connect. We'll talk about OU Connect a little bit we'll talk about OU Connect more in just a little bit, but making sure, and that goes with communicate as well, that you are staying on top of everything. And then check your grades. So not only when they get posted as your final grade, but check Blackboard for feedback from your professors. Make sure that you're on pace for what you are expecting, and then reach out to your professor if you have any questions. This is a good way to just keep yourself in line, make sure you have a good understanding of what you're doing, and really be successful. And just a little tidbit we want to put in here. We are definitely here to help you. We will support you and advocate for you, but your success is not determined by anyone other than you. So you do have to take responsibility for that. And again, that's where that communication, knowing what your course materials are, checking your Ottawa student email account, all of that comes into such play because that's you taking responsibility for your time here at Ottawa. So now our resources and tools we have to help you while you're here. So My Ottawa, this one is the one I would assume you guys are probably the most familiar with at this point, as you have all used it to pay your tuition. So every semester, if you remember back to that second or third chart, that we have 3 of those a year. So you'll have 3 payment dates a year. You will need to make sure that you make that payment by the Thursday before you begin a new semester in order to continue in the program. You can also access your unofficial transcript, see your schedule, and access the Bookstore all in your My Ottawa. So let's flip over to the My Ottawa homepage. Over here in the quick links, you can see you can get to your student email, the all-important one that I keep talking about, your Blackboard, the library, just the Ottawa homepage, and OU Connect down here. So this is really a great, I would honestly recommend bookmarking this My Ottawa page and making it a habit to check it pretty regularly, as it has a lot of important links that you can get to other places. If you go to this OU Help tab, any technology questions with Blackboard, with your password, with content in Blackboard, that all is going to go to OU Help. So over here, you can see that you can either email them your request, you can call them, or you can do a live chat. And they are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So they will be there for you. For example, on the weekend, if you're having trouble submitting your assignments, when myself and the other support staff will not be able to check our emails. You also can request a password lookup or reset your password. And if you scroll down, they do provide some software like Microsoft Office that would be helpful for you as well. So definitely make sure you utilize this OU Help page. And the other one is the Students tab. So here, if you click on academic information, it'll bring up this drop-down arrow. Here's where you can find your class schedule, your grade reports, NetTutor, which is a free tutoring service that we'll talk about in just a second, and then your unofficial transcript right here. You can also see financial information, the bookstore, the handbooks, and student help desk. So let's click on the bookstore real quick. Just click this link. It'll bring you to the fan shop. You click on textbooks and get textbooks. You'll enter all your information here. Select whatever course you're looking for over on this side, and then make sure you hit this green button at the bottom to see what books are required and able to see where you can purchase those as well. Blackboard is probably the resource you will use the most because, like I said, all of your coursework is going to be in Blackboard. Even when we do go back to on ground, you will still be submitting memos into Blackboard, and we'll still be communicating to you through that OU Communities page on Blackboard. So it is something that's crucial you get comfortable with it, familiarize yourself with it if you have not used it before. So again, if you're in your My Ottawa page, you can go down here to the quick links and click Blackboard. And I'll take you to kind of this home page. So on here, you can see any new information that's been posted in a course recently. If you click on courses over on the left-hand side, you'll have this early summer tab. So underneath that tab, you'll see 3 courses. You'll see your core course, your executive practicum course, and then this orientation course that you are in with me. So I'm going to click into that orientation course right now. And let me go over to the student view of it. Here we go. So here you can see tools and resources, all of our policies that we're discussing today. If you just want a refresher, I know we're going very quick and giving you lots of information. Here's that international student information that both Miranda and Kim talked about. So that's where you're going to find your travel form, any important documents that they may need. I believe CPT forms are in there. All of that information is going to be in this international student tab. I believe this tab is also in all of your other courses as well. But this UNV course and then the OU Communities page that I'm going to show you are 2 kind of central locations that you can find it. These 2 down here, what I really want to draw your attention to, the orientation quiz and the sexual harassment and sexual violence prevention training video. So you are enrolled in this orientation course and it will be on your transcript. You do not receive any credits for the course, but you will have a pass or fail grade. In order to pass the course, you must complete this quiz and you must complete the sexual harassment and violence prevention training by the end of the term. So you do have all term to complete it, but it is important that you do it, as it is something that will stay on your transcript. Plus, like I said, there's a ton of really good information in here. So it's really important that you're taking the time to kind of absorb that and have a good understanding of what's expected. Like I said, I'm the professor, teacher, instructor, whatever you want to call it, for this course. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to help you with that. You will also probably see a sample Blackboard course that will show up. A lot of the time it shows up as assignments are past due. So I have a lot of students that worry about that. This is not recorded anywhere. It is not required. If you just haven't used Blackboard before, or if you need a refresher, it's a good place to just kind of go and navigate around so you can get familiarized with it. But it is not something that's required or something that you have missed doing. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. This OU Communities that I keep talking about, we just recently launched it. So we are trying to really get in the habit of using it just as kind of your guidebook to everything EMBA. So you'll click on the OU Communities tab here underneath courses. And let me enter the student view again. Perfect. Okay. Like I said, that international student information is front and center on this one. We also do have some workshops we've been putting on, probably for the last 5 or 6 months now at this point, that I do think are really, really beneficial, especially for new students to just get familiarized with Ottawa. So we had some professors that did some. We actually had a supervisory customs officer with the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol that did one for us. There's one all about the online library. So if you have any questions navigating that, that's a really good one to watch. APA is a really popular one. And then we actually just had this one, hack number 7, for tips to help with executive practicum. So I do really, really recommend watching that one, as it talks about what is expected from your memos, and it kind of walks through the rubric that they use in that executive practicum course. So you do know what to expect when you go into that class. And you can also access all of these through the YouTube page, which I'll show you in just a second. We do have a newsletter that we are trying to put out once a term. So you can see spring 1 and spring 2 are the first 2 that we have out. So if you want to review that, kind of get a taste of what that looks like, those are in there. Our upcoming schedule, weekend dates, and the student costs for additional e-content that I talked about, and then any resources such as APA or just the university technology resources. Last thing in Blackboard, if you go over to this tools button on the left-hand side, you can click on NetTutor. So this is a free service that Ottawa offers or has partnered with NetTutor to offer. Let's say you have a question about accounting, you can click on that. I'll take you to kind of this home page where you can schedule an appointment to speak with a tutor. You can drop off a question and kind of like pick it up whenever a tutor is able to answer it. And it does also have a writing lab where you can drop off a paper and then pick it up after you have a tutor review it, which is really helpful to make sure that you have a good grasp on APA and make sure you're putting your best work out there. All right, so that is Blackboard. OU Connect is a newer program we started using. It's super helpful. I use it daily, I feel like, just to communicate with you guys. It's also a great place for you to see how you're doing in your course and for your professor to communicate with you also. So OU Connect is the best place to request an appointment with me. In my email signature, I have a hyperlink down there that says request an appointment with me here. And it's really cool because it takes you directly to OU Connect into my calendar. So you can just pick a time that works best for you and we don't have any of that having to go back and forth. We can just get that time settled, and then I'll call you when it's time for that appointment. You can also raise a flag, so kind of saying, I need help because of this issue, or I need help understanding this, and that will either be sent to myself and or your professor. And then your professor will also actually raise flags for you. So if they're noticing that you may be struggling with APA, if you're missing some assignments, if your attendance is not regular throughout the course, they will raise that flag just to kind of bring awareness to you. And then I will typically reach out as well just to make sure everything is going all right and see if I can offer any assistance. The cool thing is the instructors will also send out like good job and kudos, you're doing awesome flags, which is always really cool to see, because we really do want you to know that your hard work is noticed. So definitely, like I said, you could do that through the My Ottawa portal over on that quick link section. Make sure that you are utilizing OU Connect. And then we do have the library homepage. So again, you can go to that by going to the library link, and then you'll click on this. Here's where you're going to be able to search for all your journal articles and peer-reviewed articles. This is super important when writing good quality master's level papers and research papers. You want to make sure that you are utilizing these resources. So definitely familiarize yourself with this homepage. You can also speak to a librarian through this website. You can get the phone number to call and talk to them if you would rather. And like I said, we do have that workshop that the director of library services actually did for us. And she does a really good job of going in depth with each of these areas. Our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and you just do EMBA Ottawa University, this will bring up all of our videos we have. If you would like to subscribe, you're welcome to. That'll just let you get notified whenever we submit or upload a new video. All of the hack series you can find here. Some term welcomes. We tend to do these. We send them to you via email as well most of the time, myself or the director, Jamie Fields. And then, like I said, the orientation will also be posted here for you to review as well. And then, excuse me, one last resource is Grammarly. This is a free resource that, again, helps with writing papers, with grammar, with APA. They do have a paid version if you would like a little bit more help, but it is something we definitely recommend to students just to make sure that you are submitting the best possible work. All right, so let's talk about some policies. So like I said, that orientation page has all of our policies in there, but we really wanted to highlight these two as they are the ones we tend to get the most questions about and the ones that we tend to talk about the most. So the first one is emergency leave. I kind of talked about this when I was discussing attendance. So EMBA students are allowed to miss one approved weekend session or while we're online one term during the entire program. So the entire time you are a student here with us, you are allowed one of these due to a medical emergency of yourself or an immediate family member. The birth of a child, pregnancy, that would fall under this policy. So as soon as you know, and I know it's an emergency, so you can't always plan super well for them, but as soon as you know that something's happening that you think you may need to utilize this emergency leave, contact emba@ottawa.edu to begin the process. Because you do have to submit doctor's notes, you have to submit a form, and that has to go before our international and advising committee to see if it is an approvable leave and something that we can approve for you. So you really, really have to do that as soon as possible, but it absolutely must be done before the weekend session or before the term begins. So just to kind of keep that in mind, if you do find yourself in a situation where you need to utilize emergency leave, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to jump on a call with you and walk you through the more intricate policies of it. But I do want you to know that it is an option for a medical emergency or reason. and know that that is something you can use if you absolutely need to. It will extend your time with us, as you will have to miss a course. So during emergency leave, you are still enrolled in that executive practicum course. This is to help keep you current with your student status and with your status here at Ottawa. And so you do have to submit those memos still, but you are not in your core course. So it is kind of a break in that sense, but then you will have to retake that core course at a later date to meet all the requirements to graduate with your EMBA degree. Like I said, I know that's a lot of information for a very complex policy. If you do find yourself needing to utilize that, just reach out as soon as possible, and myself and the international programs team will walk you through that process. And then payments. So all of you have made your payments. Thank you so much. They must be made in full prior to beginning courses. So like I said, those are the 3 payment dates a year when we begin a new semester. So your next payment is going to be due on August 19th for the fall semester. So that's for fall 1 and fall 2 terms. Refunds are not given if you withdraw after the deadline, which for early summer is next Friday. I believe that's May 7th at noon Central Standard Time. And if you only complete 1 term of the semester and then choose to withdraw choose to withdraw halfway through that semester, you will also not be eligible for a refund. You can find the whole refund and payment policy in that orientation course. So just make sure you kind of familiarize yourself with that. Plan for that August 19th payment due date right now, and then let us, of course, know if you have any questions. Any questions before I move into the end of program stuff? Jenny or Miranda?
Don't have anything in chat as of right now.
Perfect. We'll keep on rocking then. In the program, so I know we've talked a lot about what you're getting ready to go into, and it might seem kind of silly to be talking about 2 years down the road from now, but so much of what you're doing builds on itself over your time with us. So it is really important to know expectations and requirements for the end of the program so that you can be preparing yourself for that starting right now. Get off to a great start, keep up that hard work, and really put yourself in a successful position when it does come time to discuss your options as the 2 years is coming to an end. So we do have the options of graduation. We have some second concentration options. We have a brand new certificate of advanced graduate studies option. And then Kim will come up here in a little bit to discuss OPT and STEM OPT as well. So the first choice you'll have after that 2 years is graduation. So you must apply to this prior to your last term. The application will be sent to you via email from emba@ottawa.edu. So myself and or my colleague Jenny will send those out. And we must get that back so that we can update our records and update your file, make sure you met all the requirements, all of that good stuff to make sure you're prepared to graduate. You must have earned 42 credits in order to be eligible for graduation. If you have any D's or F's on your transcript, you must have retaken them. And then you must have a GPA of 3.0 or higher in order to be able to graduate. So that is your option. If after the 2 years you feel good, you're ready to move on with your next professional goal, your next step in life, this will be the option you pick. If you are interested in enhancing your degree and kind of extending the requirements of the program, you can choose to enroll in a second concentration. I do want to point out that part, it's extending your requirements of the program. So you will not graduate with your initial degree if you enroll in a second concentration. You will just go right into that second concentration because you are extending what is required of the program at Ottawa University. So we do have some different options for second concentration. For our Arizona students, we have Leadership, Innovation, and Change, and our new second concentration, cybersecurity for managers. And in Kansas and Wisconsin, we have a business data analytics second concentration, as well as leadership, innovation, and change. And those are both conducted at the Overland Park, Kansas campus. If you are a business data analytics as your first concentration, you cannot take it as the second concentration. So your option would be to enroll in that leadership concentration. And here's kind of where we're telling you to make sure you kind of start planning ahead. If you receive any D's or F's in the program prior to you completing the requirements of your first concentration, you are not automatically eligible to enroll in a second concentration. So if you do think second concentration is something you want to pursue, really make sure you're putting your best foot forward, doing your best work you can in the classes so that you are eligible to enroll should you choose to for your professional and personal goals at this mark. If you do have a D or F, but you would still like to enroll in the second concentration, you can file an appeal with our dean. But it's really a lot easier if you just are doing what you need to lead up to it and making sure that you're getting those good grades so that you are eligible to enhance that education with us. And then our brand new Certificate of Advanced Graduate Studies program, we're shortening that to CAGS. Told you guys we have a bunch of random, I can't even think of the word. Acronyms, yes, thank you, that we put together, and CAGS is one of them. So we do offer cybersecurity for managers out of the Arizona campus as a CAGS program as well. So if you are, like, for example, a Kansas and Wisconsin student, but you're interested in doing cybersecurity, you could pursue this certificate program in Arizona. So this is a completely new and separate certificate. So it is not part of your EMBA degree. If you are interested in doing this program after graduation, you will go back through Justin Howell with Howell Management to do a new application. I believe it is a shortened application, but you do have to reapply and resubmit just a few documents in order to be accepted into the program. We will send you so much more information about all of these options as we get closer to that time, but it is really crucial to start planning ahead now and figuring out what your path looks like. What are your goals? What are you wanting to do with your career, your professional life, your personal life, and really letting myself, your advisor, know that so I can also help you work towards whatever that is that you are seeking as from this program and to help you to that next step. I think I'll turn it over to Kim next to talk about OPT and STEM OPT. And then her and I will kind of come back up here and answer any questions you may have from the academic side or from the international side.
All right. I would just like to quickly go over OPT and STEM OPT for those who have plans to do that once you've graduated for the EMBA program. Just a reminder that OPT is awarded only once per degree level. So once per bachelor's level, once per master's level, and once per the doctoral level. So if you have already done OPT on a previous master's degree, then this information is not applicable to you because you're not eligible to do OPT again on another master's degree, which the EMBA is. But for those of you who are interested in doing OPT, it's really important that you be aware of some of the stipulations. That way you don't lose your eligibility while you're in the EMBA program. So for CPT, there is some stipulations in which you can only work 11 months and 29 days of full-time CPT in order to stay eligible for OPT. And this includes full-time CPT that you do here at Ottawa, And it also includes full-time CPT that you've done at any previous universities. So if you did CPT at the university maybe that you just transferred from, you're going to have to count that full-time. If you did full-time CPT, you'll have to count that towards your 11 months and 29 days of full-time CPT that you do here at Ottawa. So if you're combined full-time CPT at your previous university with what you do here at Ottawa is more than 11 months and 29 days, then you become ineligible for OPT. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if you've never done CPT at a previous institution, you can start fresh here. So you do have the full 11 months and 29 days of full-time CPT that you can use. Now, the good thing is that part-time CPT does not count towards your OPT eligibility. So you can work all the part-time CPT that you would like and still remain eligible for OPT. So you could work part-time CPT for 2 years and still remain eligible for OPT. However, that's not the case for full-time. So please keep that in mind. And just for clarification purposes, USCIS, they define part-time CPT as 20 hours or less per week, and full-time as anything above 20 hours per week. So 21 plus hours per week is considered full-time. And it's not on a week-by-week case. You're either full-time or you're part-time. So you can't, I've had some students ask, well, 1 week I worked 15 hours and the next week I worked 30 hours. Can I count 1 week part-time and the other week full-time? No, you're either classified as part-time or full-time CPT, and you must maintain that each week. Now, we do not ask students up front if they have plans to apply for OPT once they complete the executive MBA program. And so it's your responsibility to monitor how much full-time CPT you're working. So if you have plans to apply for OPT and you're getting close to that 11 months and 29 days of full-time CPT, you're going to need to transition to part-time CPT. So that involves working with your employer to make sure that they're okay transitioning you from full-time to part-time. And if they're okay with that, then you need to contact international programs and we'll indicate that on your CBIS record. Failing to do that could result in denial of your OPT application if you don't communicate that accordingly. And also please keep in mind that whatever you're actually working for your employer has to match with what's listed in CBIS. So you can't tell international programs, yeah, I'm working part-time for this employer, but then actually work full-time for the employer. Those two things have to match. If they don't and you apply for OPT, USCIS will deny you. So please keep in mind that those two things have to match. Now that's in regards to post-completion OPT. Now for STEM OPT, we do have most of our concentrations are eligible for that. That includes the IT concentration, so information technology, and our business data analytics concentration, and also our new cybersecurity concentration that will be starting this summer. So those three concentrations are eligible for STEM OPT. The other two concentrations, which are operational effectiveness and healthcare management, they are not eligible for STEM. So they're just eligible for that 1 year of post-completion OPT. So for those who are looking to also apply for STEM, please keep in mind that you have to be on post-completion OPT in order to apply for STEM OPT. So I know some students have had questions where, well, I earned a previous, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, and I want to use that for STEM OPT on this degree. That's fine, but if you already completed post-completion OPT on a previous master's degree, even though it wasn't STEM, you're not eligible for STEM because you have to be on post-completion OPT in order to apply for STEM. So if you need any clarification on that, please let us know, but that's how that works. So again, I know Courtney mentioned, you know, it's 2 years down the road before you graduate, but this is something to keep in mind now, because if you are eligible for OPT and you want to do OPT when you graduate, you're really going to have to pay attention now to your full-time CPT and your part-time CPT in order to remain eligible for OPT. And I've only had a couple students who missed monitoring that accurately. And I had to tell them, I'm sorry, you're not eligible. You cannot apply for OPT. That's really not a fun thing for me to do. But really, students have been very good about monitoring that themselves. So if you ever have any questions about it along the way, please reach out to international programs, and we can certainly answer any questions that you might have or provide guidance in regards to that. Now, in regards to when you can apply for OPT, the soonest you can do that is 90 days prior to completing the EMBA program. So once you get about a year and a half into the program, or about maybe 4 months from graduating, reach out to International and we can provide you with instructions on how to apply for OPT. So I would definitely recommend applying as early as you can within that 90 days, just because USCIS typically takes a while in processing those applications. So think about that if that's something that you would like to do. So if it is, you can plan accordingly as you move forward through the program. All right, Jenny, do we have any questions on OPT?
We have one question was just what happens in the case that you don't plan for OPT or don't have the option for OPT?
You just don't do it. So as Courtney mentioned, we do have some opportunities to expand your skill set even more by enrolling in a second concentration or by enrolling in our CAGS program, if that's something that you're looking to do. Once a student graduates from the EMBA program, they have a 60-day grace period in which they can either transfer to a different school and start a new academic program, or they can depart the country and return home or seek out a new opportunity elsewhere. So if OPT is not something that you're looking to do or you're not eligible for, that's typically what students have the option once they graduate.
All right, so let me move over to just our wrap up page. Helps if I get fully in the frame. All right, so we're so happy and excited that you are here with us. Here's just a term calendar. We will have new dates coming out for 2022 and 2023. I think in July, June or July. So that should be out soon, and we will be able to provide that to you guys at that point. Here's our contact information, emba@ottawa.edu, as well as international programs at ottawa.edu. Do we have any other questions? I'm getting Miranda shaking her head.
I'm not seeing any coming in.
All right, well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. We're so excited you're here and starting with us. Make sure you save that contact information. Don't forget to log into Blackboard today and on Monday, and just let us help you in any way we can. Thank you guys so much, and we look forward to having you as part of the Ottawa family for at least the next 2 years. Have a great rest of your day.